Alright, let's make sure that everything is working right. Test, test. The audio is working, I think. Give me a second. Quick audio test. Quick audio test with the group. Is my audio working? Okay, good. Good. Can you hear me well? That's my follow-up question. A little quiet. Okay, let me shut down the stream real quick, and I'm gonna get this fixed real quick. Alright, I've restarted the stream, and I'm also gonna see if I can get this a little bit better. Is that better? Can you guys hear me better now? Is it worse? You know, give me some feedback. I cranked it up a little bit more, so hopefully that works. Better. Okay, good. Good. I guess I may have accidentally, like, pinched a wire, or I just needed to simply unplug my mic and then plug it back in. Good. Or it could have been something in OBS. Perfect. I'm very glad to see that. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit so I don't, like, peek out the mic. Okay, guys. So, I had talked about this series for the longest time now, and it's something I really wanted to do. And I actually tried to do this in a regular recording, but the thing is I've actually got my camera generally flipped the opposite direction, so all the text was backwards when I tried to do the original one, and the problem was I got like about an hour into it and just realized I goofed. So a big reason why I'm doing this as a live stream series is really because I want you guys to be able to comment. If you guys have any questions, I can answer them right here and right now. But we're going to go ahead and get right into the video, and we're going to talk about this stuff. So, a little bit of background. Guys, this is what started it all. This is the 1999 coin book that my father made for me, actually on August 20th of 1999. This is by far the greatest thing that I have ever owned. So the story behind this goes is that I guess we were watching TV one day, and my dad just started to flip through the channels, and it stopped on a NASCAR race. And I was interested in it. You know, when you're a little boy, you know, you like cars and all that stuff. So I was like, who drives that car? Who drives that car? Who drives that car? Oh, when you're little, you assume that your parents know everything that there is about everything in the world. Well, my dad really didn't know anything about NASCAR. So he went online, and he looked up on, I think it was like an ESPN, or maybe it was the NASCAR website at the time. There's a way that you can view that through like Wayback Time Machine. And, oh my god, it looks so weird in 2017 looking back on it. But he went through and he created this coin book for me. Now, I've added bits and pieces of stuff that I've liked and just stuff that I found throughout the years. But this is the original thing. The binder itself was changed out because it was getting too full and the original one was just falling apart. But we get to see all this. So I went ahead and I recreated the original cover. So we got Kyle Petty, we got Bill Elliott, we got the NASCAR Winston Cup logo, the NASCAR logo up top. On the spine, we've got the NASCAR logo and the Winston Cup Series logo. And then on the back, we have Bobby Hamilton, Terry Labonte, Mark Martin, Michael Waltrip, Johnny Benson, and Ernie Irvan. And we're going to get right into this. So I'm going to give it a little bit of space because we got to open it up. So I'm going to go ahead and show a couple of things off over here specifically. I'm going to see if I can move my keyboard a little bit as well because I'm afraid I'm gonna hit it and it's gonna do something wonky. Close enough. So up here on the front, we've got some old cardboard standees, so to speak. These generally came with like die casts and stuff like that back in the day. So we've got one of, sorry, as I get into the shot, Johnny Benson, and what I like is it's got the biographical information on the back. We got one of Mark Martin, and then we have one of the late Bobby Hamilton. These were kind of cool to me, and I'm surprised that they managed to survive all these years. Because, you know, as a child, you tend not to save stuff like this. You just kind of tear it all up. We got a magazine in here that I bought when I was like maybe 6 or 7 years old, maybe even younger than that. And it just goes through, and it's got all the different NASCAR drivers. This is specifically of the 2000 season, so you got like Dale Jarrett in the 88, Bobby Labonte in the 18. And I wish I could show you more, like the actual everything, the entire spread of the pages. Mark Martin in the 6, Valvoline car. This is like 99 to 2000. Tony Stewart, Jeff Burton in the old X-Side car, Dale Earnhardt, Wonder Boy Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace. That they replaced. They whited out all sponsorship for him because it's alcohol. The Lowe's car, Mike Skinner, Ward Burton, Terry Labonte, Kyle Petty. This is by far like one of my favorite paint schemes, by the way, and I love this like shot of it because it is just. It's really, really good. It doesn't have the blur effect or anything like that. And just everything. Like, it's great. And I actually have a Kyle Petty hat, so. I unfortunately won't be able to show it off in this video. And then the 66 of Dale Waltrip. And then I always thought that this was an interesting scheme. I never saw it, like, in race. I may have missed it or so, but, Jeremy Mayfield in the 12 car, which is, the Kentucky Derby. Because Jeremy's from Owensboro, Kentucky. I've always liked that paint scheme, and I kind of wonder if the NR community has created it, because that would actually be kind of cool to see as an AI car. And then the back cover is gone; it just got ripped off years and years and years ago, but it still is in good condition. You can still read it and everything like that. So I'm gonna set that off to the side. And I've just got like a whole bunch of papers in here, just stuff that I've collected over the years, and we'll go through that real quick. So a lot of this stuff is drivers that either died or just were no longer racing when I got into NASCAR, so I wanted to kind of go through that. So we got some biographical information on handsome Harry Gant. I like Harry Gant a lot. Then we've got a whole bunch of pages from when they did the whole inaugural class and so of the NASCAR Hall of Fame. So we got like Bobby Allison here, Lee Petty, I think. That's Lee. Richard, Dale Waltrip, David Pearson. And I particularly like these pages really because of the fact that it gives the biographical information. I've always been a sucker for that. It's just interesting to learn and interesting to know about. Buck Baker, Dale Earnhardt, Rick Hendrick, Jack Ingram. Not saying that all these drivers came from the 2010 class, but it's accumulated. Dale Inman, Junior Johnson, Ned Jarrett. Gives highlights of their career. Benny Parsons. I always loved Benny in the booth. Richie Evans, Cale Yarborough. And then I found this page somewhere. I don't even remember where, honestly. But Davey Allison, as we know, died in 1993. So I never got to see him race. But from what I've learned about him, I like Davey Allison a lot, and I think he would have been. I honestly think like if I had been watching NASCAR back in like 1992, or was born around the like late 80s, early 90s, I really think that Davey Allison would have been a favorite of mine. And not only that, but I think that I also would be a massive Robert Yates racing fan, because seems to me like Robert Yates always hired like good guys, like not really all that aggressive, just good-hearted people, good drivers, good everything. And he had great equipment as a team, so it just makes it even sadder that Robert Yates passed away. I'm probably at this point going to try and find a Robert Yates page out of the Hall of Fame thing on the Hall of Fame website, and then probably print that out here pretty soon, just as a remembrance to the great Robert Yates. So we got Davey here. We got Clifford Allison. And then Tim Richmond, who I didn't even know was an Ohio native until much later on. And then some of this stuff in the back here, this is specifically a project that I did back in 8th grade. I needed to find out about the Earnhardt family. So I actually learned about Ralph Earnhardt, who I knew nothing about. So I printed out those pages and I just kind of kept them. And that came from the International Motorsports Hall of Fame page. And then I did the exact same for Dale Earnhardt. And then I got some more biographical Dale Earnhardt data that I needed for my project. Just kind of kept it around. I'm a little bit of a hoarder with some of this stuff. And then I think I've got a few of these. But back in the day, although I do like the layout of the newer NASCAR site for the drivers, this stuff is good. Like, I like having all this text here to read. And that's just Dale Earnhardt Jr. and that's the... that's probably at like the very end of the 2008 season or the very beginnings of the 2009 season, and they hadn't run the first race yet. So that's all the pages in here. And that's just stuff that I've collected throughout the years. So I really, really like learning about all the older stuff in NASCAR. I'm more of like someone that likes to learn about the history of the sport. And I can remember certain events or remember certain things. And I tell you in serious right now, I'm at, like, biographical information, I don't know why it just sticks with me. I guess I just like learning about drivers and everything like that. Actually, I do know the reason why. But the other thing is like, I made it a purpose back in the day. And I still remember it because I memorized Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s birthday. Like, I read through his hero cards and all that stuff so many times over, I just memorized it. So there's that. Alright, let's actually get into the card book itself and show you the biggest thing and the big project that my dad did. Because that was just the pages that I've collected over the years. Let's get into it. So, this first page is the original page that came out of the book. Originally, all these just had holes punched into them, and then later on in time, I went ahead and put them in sheet protectors to keep them safe because they're wearing away and they're rotting away, and I wanted to keep them alive as long as I can. So I put them in sheet protectors. So this is the entire 1999 listing of drivers as of August 20th, 1999. August 20th or so. So we've got the entire driver list, we've got all the numbers, we got all the manufacturers, the teams, the crew chiefs. This is pretty damn cool. And then let's just go on and get into it. So, for each of so my dad also went ahead and went through and he printed out the individual driver pages on the website. So we got Buckshot Jones here. We got Steve Park, who I like. I like Steve Park. Rusty Wallace, I'll go through real quick. So, I have no opinion of Buckshot Jones. I do like Steve Park. Rusty Wallace, I never really got into. The big man on campus, the big man of the 90s, Dale Earnhardt. Never disliked Dale Earnhardt by any means. It's just he unfortunately passed away before I ever really got to like get into his career. But I've grown to really like Dale Earnhardt over the years. Bobby Hamilton, I really liked him when he came into the Truck Series. So big old Bobby Hamilton. Miss that guy, and I wish he was still racing and everything. Terry Labonte, indifferent to Terry, but I like him. Good driver. And this is how I actually know that this was printed on August 20th, 1999, because this is the only page in this entire card book that actually had the website address and any other information, as you can see down there. So, kind of like Terry Labonte. Mark Martin, I liked Mark all throughout his career. Never a favorite per se, but he was a good guy to root for. This is actually one of the only pages I had to reprint because I lost the original one either in Charlotte or Randleman, North Carolina when I went to the Victory Junction gang camp, because I brought this original card book with me, and I lost the Mark Martin page, which upset me. Michael Waltrip, I don't have a real big opinion of Michael Waltrip, honestly. I will say I do like his number 7 card, though. Here we go. My favorite modern day driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr. I cannot believe that it all started in 1999, the year I started watching this series, but this is pretty damn cool. So, I treasure this a lot. I'm kind of surprised because I really wasn't a Junior fan until 2003 or so. And my favorite drivers growing up were like Jeff Gordon, Kyle Petty, so on and so forth. So, that's actually really cool that I've got his like. This was the stuff before he even hit his rookie year. Like, that's cool as hell to me. Jerry Nadeau. I like Jerry Nadeau based off of more of what he did. It's just sad that his career got cut short. Ricky Rudd. Indifferent opinion of Ricky Rudd, but I've grown to appreciate him a lot more in recent years. Never disliked Ricky Rudd. Just never really resonated with me. Brett Bodine. No opinion. It's Brett Bodine. Jeremy Mayfield. I liked his paint schemes and so, but I really was never a big fan of Jeremy Mayfield, and so all I really hope for modern in today's time is that just Jeremy Mayfield's on the right track, and all the stuff that happened with him in NASCAR have just kind of like died and gone away. Kevin LePage. It's Kevin LePage. Bobby Labonte. Bobby's by far my favorite Labonte brother, to be honest, out of the two. It just kind of sucks that both Bobby and Terry kind of had a lackluster end to their careers with like weaker teams, and so after being so strong and so high up on just running so well in so many different cars over the years, and just how their careers ended. But miss Bobby, and I know a few people who are also big like Bobby Labonte fans. Tony Stewart. I never really was a big fan of Tony Stewart until really he got into his own ride and everything like that. So, and this is the only page I really want to swap out because the sheet protector is a different type. It's a little bit too glossy. Elliott Sadler. Met Elliott in 2005. I like Elliott Sadler. I kind of wish he would grow the beard out again. I liked him better with the beard. But good on Elliott Sadler for winning with the Wood Brothers back in 2001. Warren Burton. I've learned a little bit more about Warren, but never really a big fan of Warren. Jimmy Spencer. Really big opinion on the guy. A guy with a really big opinion. Not really a fan of Jimmy Spencer. Certain parts of me like him, but certain parts of me are indifferent to him. Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon was my OG favorite driver of NASCAR up until 2003. I had even a Jeff Gordon fire suit, a Jeff Gordon helmet, a Jeff Gordon hat, a Jeff Gordon jacket, plenty of Jeff Gordon die casts, just so much Jeff Gordon stuff. And that was my original favorite driver, was Jeff Gordon. And I think it was because he was the most dominant car, and he also had like the coolest paint scheme. So I think it all kind of resonated with me. Wally Dallenbach. I liked Wally more as an announcer than a driver, but I didn't even see him race that much, so. Johnny Benson. I didn't really know much about Johnny Benson until he really got into the 10 car and then subsequently in the truck series. But I loved it when Johnny Benson won his truck championship. Like, that was a cool time. That was a cool year. Just sucks how his career kind of like sloped off into NASCAR. And I kind of wonder what he's doing nowadays. Kenny Irwin. What a heartbreaker. Just a year after I got into NASCAR, he sadly passes away. Man, that sucks. But I think Kenny Irwin would have been a great driver. I know that he was technically with Sabco in 2000. And I kind of wonder what it would have been like if he had survived, but just never even had his accident, and what he could have done in NASCAR with what would eventually become Chip Ganassi Racing, because Felix Sabates ended up selling part of the team to Chip. I think if Kenny Irwin was never a champion, he would have won some races. I do kind of wonder, though, what he would have done if he stayed in the 28 as well. Derek Cope. I don't have really an opinion of Derek Cope. Mike Skinner. I always liked his Lowe's car. It's just sad he never won any like big races or so. But I like Mike. I wish he was racing still. But he was a good driver, and I'm amazed at how strong he was in the truck series when he went back. Ken Schrader. This was definitely, while a very simple paint scheme, I like Ken Schrader. I think he's a cool guy and very sweet. I wish I kind of saw him more in his heydays, at least when he was with better teams and so. But I like Ken Schrader. I like Ken Schrader based off of his personality. Give me just a second, guys. Excuse me. Ernie Irvan. I started to like I liked Ernie's paint scheme and everything like that. It's just Ernie Irvan I did not have any connection to. I was actually shocked and surprised when I found out that he won a Daytona 500. He is a former racer from Robert Yates' team. He drove the 28. He was really good in the 28. And it's just sad how his career ended. And it's sad that, like, not only did he get injured again at Michigan and had not as bad injuries as his 94 wreck, I think. 93, 94 wreck. But Ernie just unfortunately he got injured again and he had to quit. And I know the reason why, and it just also sucks that, like, Ernie seems like he was such a nice guy no matter what, and it sucks that especially his original Michigan crash, like, hindered him so much. And I think it's what cut his career much shorter than it should have, and it just sucks. It just sucks. But yeah, big love to Ernie Irvan, as I've learned about him more. At the time, I didn't know much about him. Also, at that time, I really couldn't read much. Sterling Marlin. Grown to appreciate him more in recent times. Like, there's a lot of drivers who, when I started watching NASCAR and so in the 90s and 2000s, like, they were getting close to the end of their careers, so I had no idea or knowledge about him. The fact that Sterling Marlin's a two-time Daytona 500 champion is really interesting. And I forget that he almost won the 2002 championship sometimes. Like, that was how good he was. So yeah, I've grown to appreciate Sterling Marlin a lot more in recent years. Yep. His dad, Cuckoo Marlin. David Green. I only know David Green more through the Busch series back in the day when he drove the Clorox 24, and even a little bit with the Wolf tobacco machine, number 37 for Bruco, I think it was. So I don't have an opinion of David Green. I just liked him in the Busch series more. Joe Nemechek. I really know Joe more from when he was racing in the 01 with MB2 Motorsports, I think it was. But definitely an interesting career for Joe Nemechek. I can't doubt that. So yeah, I have an indifferent opinion to Joe Nemechek, but I do like him. I don't think there's really much you could hate about Joe Nemechek, really. John Andretti. Now this is the interesting thing. I knew about the Petties but I did not know much about Andretti in their racing family. Like I had never heard of Michael Andretti. I'd never heard of Mario Andretti. So the fact that John is related to Michael and Mario and everything like that, I just found it was interesting that his name kind of rhymes with Petty Andretti. It just kind of works. But my heart absolutely goes out to John right now as he's been battling, I think it's colon cancer. And just, I wish him well recovery ahead. So, but I've grown to really like John Andretti over the years. He's a very calm and very, quiet man. I actually did see him, I actually saw him at Indianapolis Motor Speedway in 2007 when they were doing practice. I never got to talk to him or anything like that because I didn't have anything for him to sign, but I did get to see John, and John Andretti just seems like a really, really sweet guy. Kyle Petty. Now this one I did actually have to print a copy of, and it's because I accidentally spilled water all over the original. But Kyle Petty I do like. Kyle Petty, unfortunately underachieving when it came to his NASCAR career, but I liked Kyle Petty in the 44. I liked Kyle Petty in the 45, mainly just because I didn't understand the whole situation with Adam, but more than anything else, just what he did and what he built in the Victory Junction gang camp really means a lot, and I think it's just absolutely amazing. I actually met Kyle at Victory Junction back in 2009. I may pull up a picture of it sometime if I've got it. In fact, I think I maybe do. I'll look in a little while. But yeah, I like Kyle Petty. He was an interesting guy. I think also in the fact that he had a ponytail, which was strange for a NASCAR driver. But yeah, I liked Kyle. Rich Bickle. I know nothing about Rich Bickle, honestly, so I don't have an opinion, unfortunately. I just know he was bigger in the trucks than he was in Cup. Dan Pontus. Heard of the name? I just know nothing about him. Pretty simple as that. The Herminator, the man that laughs so much. Kenny Wallace. Oh boy, Kenny Wallace. I like Kenny Wallace. I think at least in his Cup career, I don't think he really ever had super terrible rides, but it's he bounced between so many different teams of varying consistency. I don't know that we ever got to really see Kenny shine, per se. And probably the closest we ever got was the 2000 Fall Talladega event. So, he almost won that thing, but he pushed Dale Earnhardt to the win, which, you know what, that's actually pretty sweet. But, I really like Kenny Wallace. Kenny Wallace is, to me, the most tolerable, and at least in my opinion, I like Kenny more than Rusty and Mike. I like Kenny Wallace. I really do. And I'm in particular very happy. I always love the Square D paint schemes. So, there's that. Hut Strickland. This is interesting. Hut Strickland, I actually only know through NASCAR 1999, the video game on the PS1, because he drove the 8 for the Stavala brothers. And in that game, he drove the 8, sponsored by Circuit City. And then when we've got this card book here, it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8. So it always confused me in thinking, oh, wait, who drives the 8? Is it Dale Jr. or is it Hut Strickland? Well, I'd known it as Hut Strickland for the longest time, so there's that. But Hut Strickland, I do not know much about him. I really, really don't. Jeffrey Bodine, Jeff Bodine, either way. I actually like Jeff Bodine. as I've learned more about him in over the years, I have learned in recent years and so of his like horrifying Daytona wreck in 2000 in the trucks, I think. But I'm surprised at the career that Jeffrey Bodine has, because in this time he was with what's the team? He was with Joe Bessie Motorsports, which wasn't maybe an awful team, but it wasn't great either. So I had no idea he was even a Hendrick Motorsports driver, like the original Hendrick Motorsports driver. And he actually had a pretty good career earlier in his life. But by this point, you know, he was getting older and everything like that. So, you know, honestly, I like Jeffrey Bodine. I'm just kind of surprised that, you know, just so and so. There is one interesting thing that I do want to say. When I was younger, like 99 or 2000, I had no idea how to say this name, even just the first part of it. So when it was originally just Jeff Bodine, so I called him Gorf Bodine, and it's just because I had never seen the word Jeff or Jeffrey spelled with a Geo before. I mean, the E is always there in Jeff, but you know what I mean. Dale Waltrip. I have no opinion of him as a race car driver. Mainly because, you know, 99 was like his second to last season. 2000 was his last season. So I barely got to see him race. I have a love-hate relationship with Dale Waltrip. Don't like hate him or so. He just sometimes gets on my nerves. So Dale definitely deserves the chops that he got for his racing career. I get that now. But when I watched, you know, NASCAR and so growing up, it's like Dale Waltrip was near the end of his career anyway. So, no, I'm not saying like Dale Waltrip is a bad person or anything like that. My biggest thing is like I think he just talks sometimes too much in the booth, and he's just gotten on my nerves a little bit more. But I know that like in reading stories about him and such, he was actually a very sweet guy. It's just when he's in the booth with Fox, it's like sometimes it's a little bit too much. Yeah, I've heard of that. I heard that Stevie Waltrip like really fixed Dale Waltrip. Something I'm gonna grab real quick, and I feel a little bad I haven't read this. Let me pull it down. Here we go. I had seen this book in my local library, and my uncle gave it to me with a box of NASCAR stuff, which you guys will actually get to see in a while. This is the book that I got, and I remember I started reading a little bit of it, and I just kind of stopped. I'm just not a big fan of Dale Waltrip, but I should sit down and seriously read this. I've heard that this book is good. And considering the fact that I've got... Let me wheel over and grab it, if I can reach it. Yeah, I'm coming back. I'm right back now. Let me just pop my earbud in. There we go. 2 books that I've also got. So including that Dale Waltrip book, this book I also got. And then I also got this book, Driver Number 8 by Dale Earnhardt Jr. And really by now, I should have read this book. I really should have read this Dale Waltrip book. But I have to say this to comment on books at least. This is a fun book to read. There's a good amount of profanity in it, but like this is a good book to read for the 1996 season, I think it was. And it goes over to 3 different teams, and that's it. And it just gives a really good spectrum of the time during that. Like it's a really good book. I like it a lot. But yeah, Driver Number 8 is by far my favorite NASCAR book that I own. So that's a little bit into my book collection. I do have a couple of other books, but I can't reach them at them. Well, I'll grab them real fast. Give me a sec. I will quickly just show you guys 3 more books that I have. And these are this isn't all of them, but this is the small ones I can move around. That's not going to require a lot of work. And I want to highlight the books as well in a later video. Got a book on Jeff Gordon. I got this like back when I was little. And then I can't even remember where I got this book, but it's Chicken Soup for the NASCAR Soul, which is a good read. I like it. And then this final book that I'm going to show you, which is really one of my favorites. Driver Number A is my favorite book regarding one specific NASCAR driver. This is my favorite book regarding the entirety of the sport. From the Honda Racing. Favorite book. I got this as a parting gift from the Victory Junction Gang Camp, as well as, that's actually kind of a crazy thing, I got an 2008 Dale Earnhardt Jr. diecast, the 1/24 scale of the COT, along with a backpack, a book, some pencils, and a few other things. From the Honda Racing is by far my favorite book that I have ever read from just the entire general of NASCAR. But I will do a highlight I will talk about these books in a much later video when we have more time. Right now we're focusing on the card book. But yeah, I've heard and I've seen some stuff with Dale Waltrip, like just kind of going through his life, and I've grown to appreciate Dale a little bit more. He just still, like, it's just specifically in the booth on race day when you got Mike Joy, Jeff Gordon, and Dale Waltrip. I don't know. Dale Waltrip sometimes gets on my nerves a little bit, so I don't hate the man, like I said. It's just his on-air personality sometimes gets to me. Dave Marcus. I think Dave's actually in one of the books I mentioned. Dave Marcus is like, man, what a guy. Tried to race for so long and doing it in his own time and his own team and everything like that. Just, you gotta love Dave Marcus for his determination. So I give a lot of heart to him on that. Ted Musgrave. This is interesting. I had no idea that Ted Musgrave raced in the Cup Series. I knew Ted Musgrave more as a truck driver than anything else. And I started watching the Truck Series in like 2003, 2004, I think. Right around the time that I started going to Kentucky Speedway. I had no idea that Ted Musgrave was even in this book until much later on. Because I had actually lost this book for a number of years. And then my mom found it one day and I was like overjoyed. And I thought that this thing never existed. That's the tough thing. Robert Presley, decent guy. I don't really have an opinion of Robert Presley because Dave Blaney kind of just showed him up in the 77. Gary Bradbury. I have no opinion of Gary Bradbury. I know nothing about him. Dale Jarrett. Dale Jarrett's actually okay in my book. I didn't know that he was going to win the 99 championship but I always loved the paint scheme. I actually liked Dale Jarrett better when he had the mustache than when he shaved it off. But Dale Jarrett I like. I got a lot of respect for Dale Jarrett. The late Dick Trickle. I really never had an opinion of him in like 1999, but I didn't know anything about him. And I think what is sad is, unfortunately, like everyone made fun of his racing name, and so, and then in addition, like, I don't think we learned much about Dick Trickle until after his passing, which is the most sad thing to me. I hate to say this, but like I probably laughed at his name one too many times, and so growing up, but I just really feel sad because of the fact in his passing and everything like that, and just like as I've learned more and such, it's like what an amazing guy, and I just kind of feel bad for like just the years and years he may have had laughed and anything like that. Bill Elliott. This was another paint scheme that I absolutely loved. I absolutely love the 94 McDonald's car. This was a sweet paint scheme. And I also like Bill Elliott. I like Bill Elliott and I like Chase, but I like Bill a little bit more. Chase is, I definitely hope, goes somewhere in NASCAR more ahead now that he's in the 9 machine. But yeah, so that's Bill. I liked Bill a lot growing up. Chad Little. I honestly don't know much about Chad Little, but I liked his paint scheme, and I liked racing as him every now and then in the NASCAR games. Rick Mast. I didn't know much about Rick Mast or anything like that. He's okay. And then the last driver in the Cup Series, at least, is Jeff Burton. Jeff Burton's my favorite Burton brother, and this is one of my favorite paint schemes as well. I cannot believe that pink managed to work so well with a black car, and it made it look badass. Like, the Exide paint scheme is so iconic, and it is just a badass scheme. I absolutely love that 99 car. And it's probably like one of the few Fords. Like, I'm more of a Chevy guy than anything else, but it is one of the few Ford paint schemes that I like want to race if I have to drive a Ford or so. It's just that awesome. So I have built the collection a little bit over the years. I did go ahead and print out Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s Busch Series profile, and then in turn, because he technically was still racing and everything like that, I also have a page of Adam Petty. So yeah, I've got Adam in there, and I wanted to, as I learned more about Adam Petty, I wanted to do something to commemorate him in the book. So I've got a page for Adam Petty from his Busch Series, just out of sheer respect. So we're now going to go into some of the stuff that's a little bit undetermined in terms of when I got them or what year they're from, but they're floating more like around 99, 2000, even before 99 or so, but it's within that range. Really, like, there's another card book that's more like 2003 onward. So we're going to go through it. So this, well, it probably doesn't look like much, is a massive Steve Park Hero card. You can pull this out and you can open it up in half. Somehow, some way, I met Steve Park years and years and years ago. And I've got his autograph. I have no memories of how I came across, or how this happened or anything like that, but apparently I met Steve Park and I got his autograph, which is cool. So it's worn down a little bit with age, but it still is in pretty good condition. Bobby Hamilton in the 2000 Kodak Max car. I've always liked this hero car. It's really, really nice. I've always liked it. I especially like when they used to do like more of these glossy shots or so, different types of shots with the hero cards. This is a kind of a plain Jane Mark Martin hero card, but I do like it. Jeff Gordon in the 24 machine. Mike Skinner in the 31. And I did sort this stuff by numerical order. And then I later on purchased this off of eBay. So I wanted to commemorate Adam again, but it was kind of cool to get a little bit of everything. So we got John Andretti, Kyle Petty, Adam Petty. No, it's Richard, Kyle, and Adam for the information in the back here. For Spree and so. And it's got their date of births and everything like that. Bill Elliott, good hero card here. I kind of wish a lot of these had a little bit more biographical information, but that's just what I'm into. A vintage Dale Earnhardt Jr. 1998 AC Delco Racing hero card, which I like a lot. I purchased that later on in time. And then let's get into the cards themselves. So this is the 99 years. Terry Labonte, Dale Jarrett, Ricky Rudd. Oh, I just fell. Sorry. Move that. There we go. Jeremy Mayfield, Tony Stewart, Dale Waltrip, Dale Jarrett again, Jeff Gordon, and then this is actually pretty cool. I've got a few of these Dale Earnhardt Jr. Busch Series cards. And what's nice about these, I'm going to pull one of these out in a little while. Terry Labonte, Jeffrey Bodine, Tony Stewart, Ken Schrader, Mike Skinner, Jerry Nadeau, Dale Jr., Jeffrey Bodine again, Ken Schrader. This is what I wanted to show you. This is actually kind of cool, and I'm surprised. I kind of get it because NASCAR used to be much more popular, but what's kind of cool about these cards is, let me go ahead and show you. So here's the card itself, and then when you flip it over, it's got their, here we go. It's got their stats on the back, but down at the bottom, it's got their date of birth and everything else like that, which is pretty cool in my book. And I'm more like happy in the fact that like I can't believe I've got a few like Busch Series Dale Jr. cards. That just baffles me because I'm sure finding that stuff now would be incredibly difficult. Let me think here. Johnny Benson, Chad Little up here. Hey, Johnny, I'm doing good. Jay Nadeau, Bill Elliott, Ken Schrader, Mike Skinner, Kyle Petty, Michael Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, I think it is, Chad Little, Dale Waltrip, a diecast card from a diecast I got of Michael Waltrip back in 1997, apparently. Then one of John Andretti, one of Kyle Petty, a Dale Earnhardt card, a Dale Earnhardt Jr. card down here. That came with I bought a die cast at Kentucky Speedway back in like 2005, I think. And it came with this card, and it fits so well with Dale Earnhardt as well. Because they look pretty much identical on the back end. Yeah, they look so similar to one another. They just fit. A slightly damaged Jeff Gordon card. Kenny Irwin. A card on Mike Skinner on his Japan wins. Jeff Gordon, this is interesting. So one thing that I asked from my dad for a Christmas present one year was a American colored Dodge Viper. This Dodge Viper you could be able to get in Gran Turismo, I think it was. Like the original Gran Turismo, maybe. And I love this paint scheme. So my dad got me a Johnny Lightning die-cast 1/64th scale Lamar Racer American striped Dodge that's a Viper. That's a Viper. And it is the coolest paint scheme. But I saved the card. My dad saved the card, which is great. A little bit strange because it's a little bit different in terms of the fact that this is a NASCAR card book and this is a sports car. But I like it a lot because it fits with the time. Some cardboard cards down here of Hot Wheels cars, which is cool. A Richard Petty card, a Jeff Burton card, a Jeremy Mayfield card, and then these were kind of interesting. My grandparents got me a Kyle Petty driver's license thing, which was cool. I wish I could find it, but I have no idea where it is. Somehow I acquired this Dale Jarrett one, so I wish I could find it again. And then along with some of those books and some of the other things I showed you guys, like Driver Number 8, my uncle also, I found this in the box that he gave me. It had a whole bunch of these 1991 Max cards in here. Now I went ahead and for a really good deal, I went ahead and purchased the a whole set, the entire set, a couple days ago, because there are many racers and many personalities that I really, really like that I'd love to have in here. So the Alan Kowickis, the Davey Allisons, the Richard Pettys, etc. But we've got a lot of good drivers here in this grouping. So checklist card, a Jeff Fuller card, Eddie Bushwald, Raymond Beal, Jim Bowen, and then they've got these race events here, which is kind of cool. Some more race events, and then I like these cards. Rusty Wallace, Ken Bouchard, Joey Knuckles, Greg Sachs, another Eddie Bushwald card. Oh, Ken Bouchard and Eddie Bushwald. Harry Hyde, which that's pretty damn cool. Jimmy Horton. Yeah, absolutely. I do apologize if I'm pronouncing these names wrong. I apologize for it so much. But Jimmy Horton, Billy Hagan, I think that's Bill Engel. Ken Reagan, so David Reagan's dad. The late J.D. McDuffie. Junie Donlevy. Ben Hess. Tim Brewer. Tim Morgan. I don't know much about him. The wonderful Buddy Baker. Love Buddy Baker. Kirk Shelmerdine, Bobby Helen Jr. They got this special card right here for Rob Murasso, because he passed away that year. So, I'll go ahead and try to pull that out. Just try not to mess anything up. There we go. Yeah, late Rob Murasso. So they got his year of birth and year of death, sadly enough. But the great thing is that all these cards, especially, they all have the date of birth at the top of them. So, yeah, I've heard that Rob Murasso was gonna go really far in NASCAR. It's just, damn, it is sad how he passed away. It's just, damn. Let's see here. Bob Tullis, who I have no knowledge of. Billy Standridge, don't know much about him. Butch Mock down here. What is that? Crew Chief of the Year. And then more memorable moments. So, I think I actually sorted these out by year. By actual number. I can't really read it upside down. Give me a second. Who is this? Oh, it's Robin Pemberton. Cool. Didn't even know that. Okay, so let's continue through here. So we got Mike McLaughlin up here. Davey Johnson. Jack Ingram. I have a Jack Ingram card here. And that's pretty damn cool. Randy Baker, who I found out is Buddy's son. Some more memorable moments, some more race events. Let's see here. Dick Brooks, Chris Economaki, which is sweet, and then my favorite broadcaster, mother freaking Bob Jenkins. I love Bob Jenkins so much as a broadcaster, and he kind of was in my ears all the time growing up because NASCAR in 1999 had Bob and Benny in the booth. So I heard so many different sound bites of Bob Jenkins and Benny Parsons, but all because of that one game, I've always been a big Bob Jenkins fan. Bob Jenkins just brought so much to NASCAR and so much to the world of racing, which is just great. Winston Kelly, which is pretty sweet. Jim Phillips. I have a hell of a lot of respect for Ken Squire. Ken Squire is like the original Bob Jenkins to me. Bobby Donner, J.C. Elder, Suitcase Jake Elder, who worked with Dale Earnhardt. And then they've got a few of these checklists here, which is okay. This is the damaged Jeff Gordon class. Somehow that got water damaged somehow, and just, I don't know. It just did it. All right. So the last two things I'm going to show you real quick. First things first. Because it fits with the time period, and so somehow we acquired this NASCAR map. And what's cool is you can open it up this way. I never knew he said that. Wow. Okay, sorry. I've actually got that flipped upside down. So this map, you can open it up. And the cool thing is it shows you the entire continent of the United States. And it also shows you every racetrack and where they're located. And I think the schedule? Oh, it's the mileage between the Winston Cup, each of the racetracks. And then it goes down that way. So interesting. I never understood that. But here's what I like about it. You flip it over. And we'll open it up this way. It's taken some damage, but it still is in decent shape all in all. You get every single racetrack in the active 2000 Winston Cup season, which is great. You can go through here, you can look at all the tracks, you can look at their diagrams, you can look at the information, just everything. And even though it doesn't really matter, there is a little autographs panel here. I probably would not get this particularly signed unless I could get other things signed as well. I like to get like hero cards especially signed, or the cards themselves. And then luckily with how this got torn, it's not that bad. It's just a little bit down at the bottom. I think I was trying to get a sticker off one day. It's got the entire 2000 Winston Cup schedule on here. That's pretty cool. So there was actually one point where I was doing a NASCAR Thunder 2003 season, and this is what I used to look through the schedule and go through it. And then the final thing to show you, which is really, really cool to me, my dad took the time and he found a paper. He pulled this out of the paper in 1999, the day after the event, and put this in a wrap, and I have an original news clipping of the Pop Secret 500 at Rockingham. This is cool for so many reasons, because number one, who really saves newspaper clippings anymore? And number two, this is a moment frozen in time, and it happened in that year. So that's really cool to me. The fact that he took the time to just find this and then like seal it pretty much. It's got some damage to the outside protective layer, but it still is in good shape. The original newspaper, yeah, Jeff beat Ward to the finish line. The fact of this is just cool as hell to me. There's a little bit hidden from the text by the newspaper clipping because it's a little bit forwarded behind, but this is pretty sweet. This is really, really sweet. So I've treasured this card book so much. My dad has took so much time out of his life and just went ahead and he just saved so much stuff over the years. And just that like first big year I became big in NASCAR, he saved so much stuff. And I'm just kind of glad that I kind of got to continue on with it. But he was the one that created this for me. And it is the sweetest present I think anyone has ever given me. And it is something I cherish every single day. In that because remember, this is the 1990s. Like, we didn't exactly have, like, we had internet access and so, but you had to go through a modem and so. We didn't have Wi-Fi. We didn't have, smartphones by any means yet. Like, my dad took time out of his busy schedule to print all this stuff out, all because his little boy wanted to know more about a sport that he was liking. And this is just like the greatest thing that one of the greatest things that my dad has ever done to me, but it is such a sentimental piece of my childhood that I just love it. I love this card book so much. And it's probably why I'm so the days of dial-up. This is probably why I'm like so nostalgic for like 1999/2000 of NASCAR, because this was the building block. This was literally the very first thing that ever happened. So yeah, holy crap. So let me get this straight. That news clipping was on Sunday, October 24th in 1999, and today is the 23rd as I talk about this. Holy crap. That means that newspaper clipping is 18 years old tomorrow. This book is already 18 years old. Holy crap. That's amazing. Part of me kind of wishes I did this tomorrow then if I knew that. Cool. That's awesome. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for this video. I hope that you all enjoyed it. I definitely look forward to doing more comic books coming up in the future. We're probably going to go through all the comic books. I'm going to like do probably a mishmash of both. Yeah, that's all I do. I'm going to go over like also the programs that I've been collecting, a few things here and there. And I'll kind of go over all of that in one combined video. Because going through just books independently and going through programs independently kind of doesn't make a lot of sense. But I will go through the books especially. But that's going to be saved for last. The comic books are the biggest thing to me because it's got the most amount of information and it's just like an accumulation of stuff I've just collected throughout the years. So yeah, that's going to end it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I love this comic book so much. it just brings me back to such a much simpler time, and just I'm glad I can especially sit down and read it now because it's just cool as hell to see this stuff. So thank you all very much for watching and spending time with me today. And coming up here actually pretty darn soon, we're going to have the Throwback Racing League Truck Series event, and we're going to be racing at Michigan. So be sure to catch that live stream and have a lot of fun with that. I'm ready for it. So I will see you guys oh so very soon. Good night.